એ હાલો રે હાલો,
માયકાવાણી ચાલુ થવાની છે. ના તારી છે ના મારી છે, માયકાવાણી આપણી છે. આ મનની બોલી છે. આ મનની બોલી છે. ના તારી છે ના મારી છે, માયકાવાણી આપણી છે.
આપણી છે.
ના તારી છે ના મારી છે, માયકાવાણી આપણી છે. આ મનની બોલી છે.
માયકાવાણી 90.4 FM.
हेलो एवरीवन एंड वेलकम टू अनदर एपिसोड ऑफ द ग्रीन हब. मैं हूं आपकी दोस्त आरजे ब्रिंदा और मैं लेकर आई हूं आपके लिए एक और एपिसोड जहां हमने बहुत ही प्यार से चूज किया है आपके लिए एक नेचुरल मॉर्निंग. और आई नो आरजे दिशा इस बार हमारे साथ नहीं है, बट अगले वीक के एपिसोड में शी विल बी देयर विद अस. तो लेट्स मूव ऑन टू आज का एपिसोड. यस, आज के लिए वी हैव अ मैग्निफिसेंट एनिमल विद अस. एंड ये एनिमल इंडिया का नेशनल एनिमल भी है. दैट्स राइट, वी आर गोइंग टू बी टॉकिंग अबाउट टाइगर्स. नाउ tigers have a very signature appearance to them. You know, they have that orange fur and they have those black stripes. And ये appearance की वजह से they have become icons of beauty and power. And they're also important icons of the importance of conservation, importance of natural conservation. Ab, let's go back to around 2 million years ago and let's trace this tale of these tigers. Now, अफ्रीका से ये 2 million years ago, अफ्रीका से जो tigers के earliest known ancestors थे, they left and they migrated to Asia. Now, over time, ये जो cats की species, the big cat as we call the tigers, they split into 9 subspecies. और उसमें से 6 अभी भी they are alive today. Now, these subspecies are the Bengal tigers, which are very famous, and you know they are in the Sundarbans, and they account for around 50% of the tiger population. There are the Malayan tigers, the Indo-Chinese and South Chinese tigers in China. There is the Siberian tiger, which is up in Russia, and the Sumatran tigers, which are only found in the Sumatran islands. अब ये जो 6 species है, they are still alive today. जो Caspian tigers है and the Javan and Bali tigers are now extinct, and they have been extinct since around the 1950s to 1970s something. But anyway, we do have 6 species still running around, though they are fairly endangered. Let's first talk about these tigers. Now, tigers are essentially very, very big cats, and I mean a lot of us love having cats as pets and all. But these tigers, so the biggest of them, which is the Amur tiger or the Siberian tiger, it can weigh up to like 300 kilograms, and they are 10 feet long, which is 3 meters. Which is the biggest tiger. But even the smallest one, जो Sumatran tiger है, they come to like 140 kilos and they're about 8 feet tall, which is as tall as maybe the tallest basketball player. I don't know. But they are big. They're essentially very, very big. And these are just the male species. जो female species होती है, they are relatively थोड़ा smaller, but again they are also pretty big. And ये जो tigers का extra weight होता है, that is essentially because of their large and powerful muscles. और ये muscles उनको कई चीजों में help करते हैं. So because tigers are prey animals, so they need these muscles to be able to run and catch their prey and hunt. But more than that, जो इनके muscles होते हैं, they help them swim. Now normally cats hate water, like that's the norm. But tigers, they live a semi-aquatic lifestyle because a lot of tigers are found near water bodies. So these tigers, they have adapted to being swimmers and they actually enjoy पानी में रहना. और जो उनके ये big and strong muscles होते हैं, they help them swim. So the tigers use these muscles to propel themselves in the water. And a fun fact for you here, tigers have webbed feet. So you know how a frog has webbed feet? Tigers have webbing between their toes. And this webbing essentially developed to help them swim. Because with each stroke, now they can push more water. So what these tigers do is they often go into the water to escape like flies that are bothering them or to just cool off. Because tigers have a lower tolerance to heat as compared to other big cats. And these tigers, they can easily cross rivers and lakes which are like 8 kilometers wide. So they can swim quite a lot. Now, another thing about tigers which is very famous or which is very distinguished is their fur, like the iconic orange and black fur. Now, like the way every human has a different fingerprint. Similarly, tigers के भी stripes बिल्कुल different होते हैं. No two tigers have the same pattern of stripes on their coat. And जब scientists are studying them, yeah, when they are in zoos and reserves, scientists and their caretakers, they can distinguish these tigers based on the pattern of their, the pattern of their stripes. Or in fact, without fur, if you remove the fur and the stripes from a tiger, it is very difficult to distinguish them from a lion, who is like their closest relative. So the tiger is the biggest of the big cats, and the lion is a very close second. And if you remove all this fur and stripes and all of that, it is very difficult to distinguish a tiger from a lion. Now, historically, तो ये जो tigers थे, they have been throughout Eastern and Southern Asia, and even like parts of Central and Western Asia, Middle East, around the Caspian Sea, from where the Caspian tiger comes in. But in today's world, they are found mostly in South and Southeast Asia, China, a little bit Russia. Now these tigers, they thrive most in like tropical and evergreen forests and temperate lands. And I mean, we all know that Sundarbans they are a mangrove and they have the largest population of the tiger population. Now, ये जो Amur tigers है, which is the Siberian tiger, they are found primarily in the far east Russia, and they have like a very small population in the border of China and maybe a little bit North Korea, which is a rarity because mostly tigers live in the temperate lands and like they want warmer temperatures. And जो Sumatran tiger है, it is only found on the Indonesian island of Sumatra, which is again a warmer place. But even within these two different kinds of temperatures and different kinds of surroundings, the tiger का जो range होता है या जो population होता है, that is primarily dependent on the availability of prey. तो अगर उनको ज़्यादा खाना मिलेगा तो tigers की population वहाँ ज़्यादा होगी. If there will be less, then there will be lesser number of tigers around. But before we move forward, I think starting के बारे में तो मैंने काफी बता दिया. Let's actually have a look at these animals. Cute, aren't they? So, I mean, coming back, now the videos that we saw, they were usually of a mother and her cubs. So, tigers are mostly solitary creatures, मतलब वो अकेले रहते हैं, except when they are mating or when they are raising their young. So, at a time, a mother, like a lion, a tigress, can give birth to 2 to 4 cubs. Maximum 7 भी जा चुका है. But basically, these cubs, they are born blind. और उनकी आंखें जब खुलती है, तब भी there is a sort of film that covers their eyes, and they don't have clear vision for around 6 to 8 weeks. तो ये 6 to 8 weeks is a long time. तो the mother has to really train and carry around the cubs and look after them. And इस period में उनकी mortality rate काफी high होती है. क्यों तो मतलब it is very difficult for a tiger cub to survive past ये जो उनका 6 to 8 weeks का period होता है. And especially अगर खाना कम हो, food is scarce, तो it is very difficult for these cubs to survive. And because they can't see and they don't have clear vision, so the mother usually she goes off for quite a while क्योंकि खाना ढूंढना होता है, because the cubs can't hunt. So the mother has to stay away and she has to hunt for her cubs. Now इसमें another thing is the weaker cubs जो होते हैं वो कई बार उनको कम खाना मिलता है because the stronger siblings are more aggressive. तो they get the siblings, since they are more aggressive, तो उनको खाना, they fight more for their food and they get more food. और ये जो weaker siblings होते हैं वो कई बार उनको खाना कम मिलता है, या they don't exactly go hungry, but they don't get enough food at times. And so basically, because the mother has to look after these cubs and they're still maturing, so they remain with their mother for about 2 years. And when they're nearly adult and they're about to kill and eat for themselves, tab they leave their mother's homes. So usually these tiger cubs, they attain full independence and full maturity at the age of 2 or 3, which, I mean, imagine human kids doing that at 2 or 3, which is like not possible at all. Some human adults are not even mature at 20. So, okay. Anyway, so once they are matured, the tiger cubs, they leave their mother and they go find their own territory. So usually the male cubs mature faster and they leave faster. But जो female tigresses होती हैं, they sometimes remain close to their mothers or they create their territories उनके mother के आसपास ही. And over time जो उनकी territories होती हैं, they separate, but they are close by. Now, another fun fact is that, because these tigers are so closely related to lions, so when they are in captivity, या जब उनको हम खुद preserves या tiger reserves में रख रहे हैं, तो tigers and lions can be crossbred. So basically, you can have a male tiger and a female lioness breeding, or a male lion and a female tigress breeding. And so the offsprings are called tigons when it is a male tiger and female lion, and they're called ligers, which are actually more rare when so it's a liger when the male is a lion, and these ligers are usually rarer than tigons. Now, because these tigers mature at the age of 2 or 3, so when you leave them in the wild, so usually unki lifespan is 10 to 15 years. Rare occasions pe in the wild it can be 20 years, yeah, when they are in human care and when they are protected, it can be 20 years. But approximately half of these tiger cubs, they don't survive after the first 2 years. Matlab, they have left their homes and now, like once they go out in search of their own habitat or their own territory, they usually don't survive. And it's only around 40% of those who have reached independence and they've left, that they are actually able to establish a territory and they're able to produce young, like they're able to produce cubs. अब प्रॉब्लम ये होता है कि द मोर्टालिटी रेट इज वेरी हाई इवन फॉर द अडल्ट्स, क्योंकि टाइगर्स आर वेरी टेरिटोरियल। तो उसकी वजह से इफ अ डिफरेंट टाइगर कम्स इनटू देयर टेरिटरी, तो उनके बीच में डायरेक्ट कंपटीशन होती है, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होती है। दे इवन गेट वायलेंट एंड लाइक दे फाइट फॉर द टेरिटरी। तो इसकी वजह से ये भी होता है कि once they've established territories, they die or they are taken over by a different tiger. So in the wild, the tiger species itself is very territorial and protective, and they don't. There are not that many tigers which actually sire cubs, so to speak. So now talking about, I mean, like I said, that tigers are solitary animals, but even despite that, उनके बीच में communication is very important, because it is through this communication that they show कि हाँ अब ये मेरी territory है, no other tiger can come in or hunt or have cubs here. So what they do is they have vocalizations, like they roar and they grunt, and they have non-vocal signals ki they do scent marking on their territory. So at the borders or the edges of their territory, tigers leave scents and they leave scratches on trees. And because they're territorial, these signals are very important to communicate कि हाँ एक टाइगर का होम रेंज यहाँ खत्म हो रहा है, दूसरे टाइगर का स्टार्ट हो रहा है. Now, their home range, they create their territories or their home ranges with respect to the food. कि उनको जहां ज्यादा खाना मिलेगा वो वहां अपनी रेंज क्रिएट करेंगे. नाउ these tigers, they are the largest terrestrial mammals जिनकी डाइट इज entirely of meat. मतलब tigers are entirely carnivorous. They do not eat grass or like plant based diets. And another fun thing about tigers is वो usually रात में hunt करते हैं. And they use their sense of sight and sound to identify prey. And because उनका coat जो orange and black काफी होता है, तो it helps them blend into the surroundings. तो वो वहाँ पे surroundings में blend करके they just wait for a prey to pass, and then they pounce on it. And I mean, they push it to the ground, and they finish the kill by biting or breaking the neck of their prey. Now, at once, a tiger can eat around 35 kgs of food, like in one night. And they usually hunt like about once a week. And what tigers do is, जब उनका खाना हो जाता है कि एक बारी का उनका मील हो गया, they consciously make an effort to hide the carcass so that vultures and other prey animals don't find it. And अब उन्होंने जब एक बार अपना carcass hide कर दिया, now if there is, for example, some kind of scarcity and they're not able to hunt again, sometimes these tigers come back to this old food source, and so that they can get another meal. Now tigers are very important in their ecosystems. Like they play a very major role, because they're not they're not only controlling उनका prey का population. So now mostly the tigers are predators. They hunt on so they're predators like other predators involving leopards or the clouded leopard or the dhole, which is like an Asiatic wild dog. So they're very important because वो सिर्फ अपने prey का population नहीं control कर रहे, but वो other predators का population भी control कर रहे हैं, because tigers are the biggest. I mean, they're at the top of the food chain, right, in the forest. So in that sense, they are very important because um, I mean, having a tiger in the ecosystem shows that it is healthy. Like it is important to have in their natural habitat. It's important to have a tiger because I mean, they're maintaining a balance, right? So when they're keeping a check on the herbivores, so they're making sure that there is a balance between जो herbivore जो उनका prey है and the vegetation around. क्योंकि अगर herbivores का population बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, तो there will not be enough grass or greens to actually feed these animals. So if there is a tiger in that ecosystem, it's an indication that it's a healthy ecosystem. And the extinction of this, I mean, if there are no tigers, if they're the way they're going extinct, this ecosystem and this balance will not be properly maintained. And if it's not protected, then it might not last for as long as it should. Now, we all know that, tiger is the national animal of India. But the fun fact here is it is not just the national animal of India, it is also the national animal of Bangladesh, Malaysia, and South Korea. Now, these tigers, they have been fascinating for human beings for a very long time. And they have been, they have been the source of fascination since ancient times. And they are periodically visible, not even periodically, they are very often visible in the culture and media and our drawings and imagery and motifs and all of that. So, for example, in the Chinese myth and the Chinese culture, the tiger is one of the 12 animals of the zodiac. So, in Chinese art, also, the tiger is depicted as the symbol of earth. And जो Chinese dragon होता है, which is like majestic and another again very important symbol in the Chinese culture, the tiger is equally important because it is seen as the rival for the dragon. So the dragon depicts the spirit out within, or the spirit of the Chinese and the spirit of mankind. And the tiger depicts the earth and the earthliness and the physical aspects of a person. Even in the Korean myths, so Asian myths consider tigers to be auspicious. So even in Korea, the tiger is regarded, it's like a guardian who is driving away evil spirits. And like they're considered sacred, and they drive away the evil spirits and they bring good luck. So they're a symbol of power and courage. But on the other hand, very surprisingly, in Buddhism, the tiger is one of the three senseless creatures. So the tiger symbolizes anger, with along with the monkey and the deer who represent greed and love sickness. So Buddhism does not see tiger in a very positive light. So they want to get rid of this anger within themselves and this tiger within themselves, so to speak. And I think Buddhism is the only Asian culture which looks at tigers in some sort of a negative light. Because even in Hinduism, tigers are associated with the god Shiva, who wears and he sits on tiger skin. And it is the Vahan or the ride of the goddess Durga. Um, Even the South Indian god Ayappan, he's associated with tigers. So overall, when you look at Asian myth and culture, तो टाइगर को ओवरऑल इन जनरल काफी पॉजिटिव लाइट में पोर्ट्रे किया जाता है, एंड इट इज द सिंबल ऑफ करेज एंड पावर, एंड that is why all of these countries have also made the tiger their national animal, because they want to symbolize what kind of a country or what kind of a people they are. The sad thing here, however, is that tigers are going pretty much extinct. Matlab, there are only a few dozen animals remaining of the South China tiger, and the Malayan tiger, the Malayan subspecies, which was it is slightly genetically different from the Indo-Chinese subspecies. It is, there are perhaps about less than 500 uh, animals remaining. Um, Even the Siberian and Sumatran tigers, which are sort of specific to their particular region. So the Siberian tiger in Russia, in the colder regions, and the Sumatran tiger specifically in Sumatra, they have less than 500 each of their species remaining. The Indo-Chinese tigers, which is the rest of the population apart from these three, there are less than 300 animals remaining. And I mean, three species of the tigers, which is the Caspian tiger, the Javan tiger, and the Bali tiger, they have gone entirely extinct. Like you cannot find them anymore anywhere. Like you can't find them anywhere now. So because of the tigers going extinct, and the tigers, they are a very important or a very essential part, an essential symbol when we look at conservation and wildlife. So now, because their numbers are so far falling, they are now legally protected throughout their habitats and their ranges. But this law enforcement is not universal, so every country is doing something different. So India, जहाँ पे like half of the world's tiger population is present in the Sundarban regions. So India declared tigers their national animal in their national animal, and they launched this tiger project tiger in 1970s, sometime in the 70s, early 70s, to protect these tigers. And this was a very successful program because under this, the selected tigers were put into reserves, and they received special conservation efforts, and they received a special status. And they were basically, India was able to conserve their tiger population. So other countries like Nepal, Malaysia, and Indonesia, they have set up a string of national parks, and they set up sanctuaries where these animals are protected. Now, even Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam, like that particular region, they're also doing the same thing where they have set up national parks and they have set up sanctuaries, and hunting and poaching is strictly banned. Um, China is the only country which has three of these subspecies, which like they have three subspecies within their boundaries. They are also giving special attention to the conservation of these animals because they have tigers have been important in the Chinese tradition and culture for a very long time. So even China is looking very heavily into their conservation. Now in Russia, which is where we find the Siberian tiger, um, poaching was the main reason that these animals were getting endangered. So now, what Russia has done is they have put concentrated efforts into those particular regions, and they have put patrolling rounds for to protect these Siberian tigers. And it is only because of these efforts कि जो इनके बहुत ही dwindling numbers थे, the Siberian tigers have come to a certain level of revival where their species is like their numbers are around 500 or so. So this brings us to the end of this episode, and we will be back with you very shortly with next week's episode. And this time, both RJ Disha and I will be present to take you through another one of nature's absolute marvels. Till then, stay tuned to my Kawani and keep watching Green Hub. Please like, share, subscribe to our channel, and we are up for comments, any observations, anything you would like us to change. Please put them in the comment box below. And this is RJ Brinda signing off for today's episode. See you.